Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be none other than VeTerran, one of the VeTerran bots, taking on Deimos, a new killer. Well, new-ish in the realm of bots, that's for sure. We've got some bots that are quite old at this point, and Deimos is a fairly new project, and it's been having some great success. And someone requested I cast another match between these two. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more of these bot games, make sure to go ahead and click that like button. We do have this probe for Deimos. Going to be finding this proxy, which is very unfortunate for VeTerran. It does have a backup marine, building a backup barracks down south though, so that proxy may still have partial success, but it is going to be limited in that success. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games, more failed bot proxies, just like it's a human player, VeTerran going for a cheeky proxy, but then having it found and not really knowing what to do with the partially built barracks. Deimos behind this is getting a cyber core and a gateway up. And VeTerran does bring an SCV back to resume building at barracks. Meanwhile, the other one is going to be finishing up relatively soon. So the fact that Deimos did abandon that barracks does mean VeTerran is going to be able to finish it. We've got a factory now going up for the Terran bot. A little bit of a stuck SCV, it seems. It does fix itself there. And VeTerran now is going to be able to start pumping out some of these Marines. However, the problem is there is already an Adept on the way for Deimos, and Deimos is a Protoss bot that really, really likes these Adepts. And so we're going to see how well those Adepts are going to micro against just individual Marines for starters, whether there's going to be more Marines yeah, it's all just going to come down to the programming on the unit management. And so far, that one Marine is thinking he's bigger than he is. However, the Adept does completely bypass that Marine and actually just goes across the map looking for some damage. So Deimos isn't really taking this threat as seriously. We do, however, have an open door. No third depot has been built for VeTerran, so that's going to be problematic. The Nexus was, the Nexus was canceled for Deimos, so that is not great. We've got another Marine going to be getting killed by that Adept. And we actually have a few probes that just ran down here and started mining for some reason. So yeah, no Nexus going to be up for Deimos. It is locked on one base for the time being till it decides it's safe to expand again. Meanwhile, that Adept on the other side of the map, okay, they did actually just decide to go home, which is unfortunate. I guess just a little bit too much harassment decided to make Deimos turn around. So VeTerran's going to get off easy as far as not having to deal with that counter harassment. These two racks are still parked at potential expansions of Deimos down the line. The natural, though, will be able to be taken whenever the blue Protoss bot is feeling comfortable. We did see that in a previous Deimos match, though, that once it cancels that first Nexus, it seems to take a long time to get up another one. That's the approach the bot authors have taken, just to knock the macro down a little bit. And I just heard a Widowmine burrow. Where is that? Okay, it's up at the front just hanging out. The Widowmine is going to burrow. It's going to kill off one probe, and we'll see if it runs away. And it looks like it is going to get away. Deimos is not chasing that down. It's just playing the safe route, getting up second Immortal here, and still floating quite a bit of money. So I am curious when Deimos is going to realize it's safe to expand. VeTerran behind this has got a natural command center up. So as far as everything's concerned, this build has succeeded for the Terran bot because it's got an economic advantage. Deimos is now just firing up its Nexus. So better late than never. VeTerran even dropping a scan to identify what the Protoss has. We've got one of those Widowmines does get killed. There's a Raven on the front line. The Cyclone is determined to lock onto this Nexus, but I don't believe it's going to get canceled or killed. In fact, I think it's best if these units get on out of here before that Protoss army dives on them. Deimos behind this is still just investing in more tech while it waits for its natural nexus to finish up. The economies definitely are in favor of the red Terran bot. We've now got that third base on the way for VeTerran, on location too, which I'm a big fan of. I mean, it's a riskier play, but bots tend to get away with taking the third base and just building bases on location more often than not. For Terran bots, anyway. Now, VeTerran, it's producing some siege tanks, getting out an armory. The racks are finally making their way home. One of them actually just lands on the outside of the base, so I guess wherever it's convenient to park your RV. Deimos now does have that natural base done. It's using Chrono Boost on its robo, on its production facilities whenever it can. VeTerran behind this is on a whopping 41 workers, though, with the third base just finishing up. Now getting an orbital at the natural. Bots do seem to delay the orbitals a bit just because they are quite a big mineral expenditure. We've now got a Banshee on the way for VeTerran. And Deimos, it's got a very beefy Protoss army, but at some point, I think VeTerran's going to pass that just based on economy alone. And the fact that VeTerran finally has got its production landed. The tanks are going to be a big deal for VeTerran too. VeTerran is a Terran bot that really likes its siege tanks. And I mean, we all know how good tanks are against stalkers. +1 armor is on the way for VeTerran as well. That definitely is a VeTerran quirk, that it doesn't go for any attack upgrades right away. It just wants everything to be a little bit stronger, which is admirable. Meanwhile, Cloak is now being researched to benefit that Banshee, so we'll see if Deimos is gonna have the defensive capabilities to deal with Banshee harassment. I know that has been a bit of a weakness for it in the past. And for now, the Protoss bot is just hanging back. We'll see if it's gonna get up a third base sometime soon. It's still just building up more stalkers, more immortals, a little bit of everything. Well, not really everything, just making units non-stop. And by units, I mean stalkers and immortals pretty much exclusively. We do have a third base on the way for Deimos, so its economy will be taking off in a minute here. But definitely it is still behind the economy of VeTerran. That's going to mean VeTerran's going to have a bit of a higher army supply. Although it doesn't yet, because, of course, Deimos has been investing so much in units. VeTerran will have more production than its opponent, though. We're now seeing attack upgrades get researched, more tank production go down. Deimos is investing in extra tech and production right now. But, I mean, that army supply, it is evening up at this point. And that really is the one lead Deimos has had going for it in this game. We've even got Hyperflight Rotors on the way for Banshees now, too. So we're going to see how effective these Banshees can be at harassing, if they actually do harass. Cloak is done, but they are not doing anything, funnily enough. VeTerran is now researching Stimpack, getting a fourth base on the way. Even building a bunker at the fourth, which I am a big fan of. And yeah, let's see. A bunker now getting up at the third base, so very respectable from the Terran bot. Looks like Deimos is getting ready to go in for an attack, though it's a bit of a risky attack. I mean, there's so many siege tanks here for the Protoss, although the Terran army is now coming on out to greet this force. Away from the defense of the siege tanks is concerning, however. The tanks are in range of this army, so it looks like VeTerran may be able to push Deimos back. We'll see if Deimos commits to this fight or not. The Banshees are getting some shots off as the Observer is scared and getting zoned away by this Viking, so that Viking's got to be taken care of before the Observer can help detect the Banshees. Now the Observer is coming a little bit more forward. Still, though, Deimos is eating lots of tank shots. It's afraid to go in for this attack. It's not an easy thing to program a bot to attack into siege tanks. And so Deimos is just, yeah, being inched back. We'll see if it pulls the trigger or not. I mean, it's getting some okay pickoffs, but look at that tank shot just dealing so much damage. This Protoss army is derping out pretty hard against these siege tanks. And yeah, not quite avoiding those as much as it needs to. More Protoss units are going down. We do have Deimos about to have Blink done, which could definitely help out those Stalkers soon enough. And we've even got a 4th base on the way behind this. So Deimos behind this is still building up its economy. It does take quite a nice trade as VeTerran attacks forward into a nasty concave. A scan goes down trying to kill off that observer. These Banshees are still causing problems, but there was a 2nd observer made, so Deimos is increasing its coverage on that. We've got Immortals that can gun down Thors pretty quickly. The Thor gets evacuated by VeTerran though, so well done by VeTerran on that. However, the Banshees are still getting free shots. One is just about killed off an Immortal. In fact, 3 of the Immortals are quite bruised up, so Deimos' army is not looking that good, and the tanks continue to bully this Protoss army back. Deimos having a hard time deciding to pull the trigger on this, as it really is just being pushed around. The Stalkers and Immortals do find that one Thor, but I bet that Thor is going to get evacuated if it takes too much damage. The Protoss army is buying some time now, but this is one of VeTerran's strengths. It's mass siege tank play. It's now almost setting up a bit of a flank on this Protoss army, but yeah, I mean, Deimos is just playing a little bit too scared. Its units are sitting around more often than they should, when they should just clearly be attacking. It's not an easy thing to program, though. These Stalkers really are slacking, though, as Deimos loses more and more stuff. The Protoss bot does have a very strong 4-base economy, though, so I mean, it's not like it can't make stuff. Looks like that Immortal does pick off a siege tank. Deimos is just playing for time at this point, and it definitely needs to retreat, but oh man, I don't know. I think the line of sight blockers may have messed with it a little bit there, as the Protoss bot loses just a ton of units. VeTerran is on 5 bases, getting up a 6th, well, getting up a 5th and a 6th base itself. Meanwhile, the Protoss bot is just getting pushed away. And yeah, the army control of Deimos has left a little bit to be desired this match, because those units, like, they don't go far enough away to be safe, but then they also don't really commit on in, so they're really just sitting there waiting to be killed. We are now seeing the Protoss bot charge down this ramp into all these siege tanks. It would have been better off when it had, I don't know, like the other 5 Immortals that it did to take a fight, but now we've got such a beefy tank Thor army from VeTerran, and Deimos, it hasn't been doing its transition into Tempest or anything like that, and so it doesn't seem to have an answer to these Thors, to these siege tanks, and we've even got battle cruisers coming in, so VeTerran is just coming in swinging with these heavy-hitting Terran units, and yeah, the Protoss army just couldn't seem to stand up to this, as VeTerran does have a 4th base on the way, but I mean, VeTerran is inching forward with those tanks. That really is one of the strengths of VeTerran. Battle cruisers teleporting on out before they die, a very cool effect. The Thor's getting driven home, and then the tanks are just inching forward. Tanks are such a difficult thing to program your bot to engage, because they will whittle you down and kill you if you don't pull the trigger, but then if you pull the trigger at the wrong moment, you just die. It's not easy to program. I mean, Deimos doesn't have all the information right now. Like, it can see the outline of the tanks, but it doesn't really know what's behind them. Then when it comes to programming bot logic, I mean, your bot moves in, it sees more units behind the other units, and it goes, oh, the equation's different, and then they tend to pull out, which is why we get that glitchy back and forth. But the tanks of VeTerran really have done the work here today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, go ahead and click that like button. Leave a comment down below if you enjoy these bot matches. If you want to see more Deimos, if you want to see more VeTerran, let me know. Just say more bots and I'll get the hint. As we've got, yeah, Deimos just having a bit of a rough time. Again, I will say there is a bit of selection bias in me clicking on this replay. This is a longer replay. Most of Deimos' matches are seemingly around the 8-minute mark. So if a match is longer, it means it's not really, Deimos is less likely to win it than other matches, which is the case with quite a few of the favorite bots. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the channel if you're watching the video up until this point. You can click that bell icon to get notified whenever I put up new videos or stream. And yeah, if you do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member, or there is a PayPal email down below. And big thanks to everyone that does support the channel. It goes a long way to helping me do these daily casts. VeTerran takes the map, and that is game. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.